Have you ever paused and asked yourself, why is it so easy for some people to form meaningful connections while others struggle? If you felt like meaningful relationships are out of reach, you're not alone. Many of us assume that building strong connections depends on luck, charisma, or superficial charm. But what if that's not the case? What if the ability to attract quality connections lies within your control and stems from a deeper, more intentional approach? Let's talk about what's holding most of us back. Common wisdom suggests we need to network more, talk to more people, or even put on a facade to be more likable. This approach, though well-meaning, often leads to shallow relationships that feel more draining than fulfilling. The problem isn't effort, it's direction. Most of us are chasing quantity over quality, prioritizing surface-level interactions instead of meaningful, authentic bonds. But here's the good news. There's a better way. By focusing on self-awareness, authenticity, and intentional action, you can unlock the secret to attracting high-value connections. It's not about changing who you are to fit others' expectations. It's about embracing who you are at your core. This approach isn't just practical, it's transformative. When you master it, you'll not only attract connections that matter, you'll also foster personal growth and purpose. As we dive into the steps to attract quality connections, I'll guide you through principles rooted in authenticity and grounded in Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us how to align with our values and find true harmony in relationships. So, let's begin with the foundation, because without it, the rest won't hold. 1. Self-awareness, the foundation of quality connections. Let's start with the most critical question. Do you truly know yourself? Before you can attract the right people into your life, you must first understand who you are, what you value, and what you're seeking in others. Think about it. How can you expect someone to connect with your essence if you haven't identified it for yourself? Self-awareness isn't just about introspection, it's about clarity and alignment. When you're clear about your values and authentic self, you naturally exude confidence and attract like-minded individuals. But here's where most people falter. They avoid this inner work because it's challenging. It's easier to seek external validation than to sit in solitude and confront your true identity. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic philosopher, often emphasized self-examination as the cornerstone of a meaningful life. He urged us to ask, is this essential? Is this true to my nature? In the context of relationships, this means stripping away the noise of societal expectations and identifying what truly matters to you. Are you seeking depth or status? Trust or convenience? Understanding your priorities will help you filter out the superficial and focus on what aligns with your character. Here's a practical exercise. Take 10 minutes today to write down your top 5 values. Ask yourself how these values show up in your relationships. Are your current connections supporting or conflicting with them? This simple exercise can reveal whether you're building relationships on a sturdy foundation or shaky ground. Another key aspect of self-awareness is understanding your strengths and limitations. Confidence comes from owning both. Are you the type of person who thrives on deep one-on-one conversations, or do you prefer connecting through shared activities? Knowing this will help you align with people who complement your nature rather than clash with it. When you operate from a place of self-awareness, you become magnetic. Why? Because people are naturally drawn to clarity and purpose. You're not just reacting to the world around you, you're moving with intention, and that's incredibly attractive. But self-awareness isn't a one-time revelation, it's a practice. Like Stoicism teaches us, the more we reflect on our thoughts and actions, the more we align with our true selves. This alignment not only improves our ability to connect with others, but also builds resilience against distractions and inauthenticity. Finally, let's address a fear that often arises when we discuss self-awareness. What if people don't like the real me? Here's the truth. If someone is repelled by your authentic self, they were never meant to be part of your journey. And that's okay. The goal isn't to please everyone, it's to attract the right people. So as you step into this journey of attracting quality connections, remember that it all begins with you. Self-awareness is your foundation. Without it, every relationship will feel hollow or misaligned. But with it, you'll discover connections that are not only meaningful but transformative. Now that we've laid this crucial groundwork, let's explore the next secret: how embracing authenticity can revolutionize your relationships. Stay with me, because this is where the magic starts to unfold. 2. Embrace authenticity. Let's be honest. How often do you catch yourself trying to be someone you're not, just to fit in or make others like you? It's tempting, right? But here's the thing. When you try to mold yourself into someone else's expectations, you're not just hiding your true self, you're also robbing others of the chance to connect with the real you. And without authenticity, there's no foundation for genuine, meaningful relationships. So ask yourself, what does authenticity really mean to me? For many of us, the idea of being authentic is wrapped up in fear. Fear of judgment, fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood. But let's shift our perspective. Authenticity isn't about being perfect or universally liked. It's about embracing who you truly are, flaws and all, and allowing others to see the real you. When you're authentic, you don't just attract people, you attract the right people, the ones who appreciate and respect you for exactly who you are. This isn't just a feel-good concept. It's a principle grounded in Stoicism. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and release the need for external validation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In the context of relationships, this means letting go of the pressure to perform or pretend. Instead, focus on living authentically and letting your actions reflect your true character. But here's the challenge. Authenticity requires courage. It means showing up fully, even when you're unsure how others will respond. Think about a time when you were completely honest about your feelings or beliefs. How did it feel? Scary, maybe, but also freeing. That's because authenticity liberates you from the exhausting cycle of trying to be someone you're not. Now, let's get practical. How can you embrace authenticity in your relationships? Start by getting clear on your values, as we discussed earlier. When you're rooted in your values, it becomes easier to show up authentically because you're aligned with what truly matters to you. Next, practice honest communication. This doesn't mean oversharing or being blunt to the point of insensitivity. It means speaking your truth with kindness and clarity. For example, imagine you're meeting someone new and they bring up a topic you disagree with. Instead of nodding along to keep the peace, try responding with curiosity and honesty. That's an interesting perspective. I actually see it a bit differently. Here's why. This approach not only demonstrates authenticity, but also invites deeper, more meaningful conversations. Another key aspect of authenticity is embracing your imperfections. Too often we try to hide our flaws because we fear they make us unlovable. But here's the paradox. It's often our imperfections that make us relatable and endearing. Think about it. Have you ever bonded with someone over a shared struggle or quirk? That connection wouldn't have been possible if one of you had been pretending to be flawless. Stoicism reminds us that imperfections are part of being human. Instead of seeing them as weaknesses, we can view them as opportunities for growth and connection. As Epictetus said, "He who is not disturbed by loss, dishonor, or bad repute is strong, because his true self is not tied to external things." When you embrace your imperfections, you signal to others that it's safe for them to do the same, creating an atmosphere of trust and authenticity. Let's address one more barrier to authenticity: the fear of rejection. It's natural to worry that being yourself might push some people away. But here's the truth. Rejection isn't a reflection of your worth. It's simply a sign that the connection wasn't meant to be. And that's okay. Authenticity filters out the wrong people, leaving room for those who truly align with you. Think about this for a moment. What kind of relationships do you want to cultivate? Ones based on superficial charm or ones rooted in mutual respect and understanding? When you choose authenticity, you're laying the groundwork for Stoic relationships, connections that are resilient, fulfilling, and deeply aligned with your values. Now, before we move on, I want to invite you to reflect on this. What's one way you can show up more authentically in your relationships this week? Maybe it's speaking your mind in a conversation or sharing a personal story with someone you trust. Whatever it is, take that step. It's worth it. And since we're talking about authenticity, let's keep this interaction real. If you're enjoying this video and want more insights on building Stoic relationships and authentic connections, go ahead and like this video and comment number 1 below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel for more content that helps you live intentionally and cultivate meaningful relationships. Authenticity isn't just a buzzword, it's a practice that transforms how you connect with others and yourself. So embrace who you are and let your authenticity light the way. And now let's dive into the next secret to attracting quality connections: cultivating empathy and active listening. 3. Cultivate empathy and active listening. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you felt truly heard? Think about it. A moment when someone wasn't just waiting for their turn to speak, but was genuinely invested in what you were saying. How did that feel? Chances are it was memorable and meaningful. Now flip the question. When was the last time you offered that level of presence to someone else? Empathy and active listening are powerful tools for building meaningful connections. They go beyond surface-level conversations and create bonds rooted in trust, respect, and understanding. Yet in a world filled with distractions, truly listening to someone has become a rare skill. The good news: it's a skill you can cultivate. And when you do, it changes everything about how you connect with others. Let's start with empathy. Empathy isn't about agreeing with someone or fixing their problems. It's about understanding and validating their feelings. It's the ability to step into someone else's shoes and see the world through their eyes. But here's the catch. Empathy requires effort. It means setting aside your assumptions, judgments, and ego to fully focus on the other person. Ask yourself, how often do I truly listen without trying to interject my opinions or solutions? Many of us listen with an agenda. We're preparing our response, looking for ways to relate the conversation back to ourselves, or even mentally drifting. This isn't real listening, it's just waiting. And when we listen this way, we miss the opportunity to connect on a deeper level. Active listening, on the other hand, is the practice of being fully present and engaged in a conversation. It's about hearing not just the words but also the emotions and intentions behind them. Marcus Aurelius, a master of Stoicism, reminds us to listen with patience and humility, for understanding grows in silence and focus. By approaching conversations with this mindset, you create space for authenticity and trust to flourish. So how can you become a better listener? Start by putting away distractions. In our digital age, it's easy to let a notification or glance at your phone derail a moment of connection. When you're with someone, give them your full attention. This simple act alone can set you apart and make others feel valued. Next, practice reflective listening. This means paraphrasing what the other person has said to show that you're truly hearing and understanding them. For example, if a friend shares that they're feeling overwhelmed at work, you might respond, "It sounds like you've got a lot on your plate right now. That must be really stressful." This doesn't just validate their feelings, it also invites them to share more, deepening the connection. Another powerful way to cultivate empathy is to ask thoughtful questions. Instead of sticking to surface-level topics, gently explore deeper emotions or perspectives. Questions like, "How did that make you feel?" Or "What's been the most challenging part of this for you?" signal that you care about more than just the facts, you care about their experience. But let's not forget about nonverbal communication. Empathy isn't just expressed through words, it's also conveyed through body language. Are you making eye contact? Are your facial expressions matching the tone of the conversation? Small gestures like nodding or leaning in can show that you're fully engaged and attuned to the other person's emotions. One of the most challenging aspects of active listening is resisting the urge to offer solutions. When someone shares a problem, our instinct is often to jump in and fix it. But most of the time, people aren't looking for answers, they're looking for understanding. Instead of saying, "Here's what you should do," try responding with, "That sounds really tough. I'm here for you." This approach not only validates their feelings but also fosters a deeper sense of trust. Empathy and active listening also have a ripple effect. When you show genuine care and understanding, you encourage others to do the same. Over time, this creates a culture of openness and vulnerability in your relationships, which is the cornerstone of Stoic relationships. Stoicism teaches us to be present, patient, and intentional in our actions, and listening is no exception. Now, let's address a common misconception. Does being empathetic mean letting others take advantage of me? The answer is no. Empathy isn't about losing yourself in someone else's emotions. It's about recognizing and respecting their feelings while maintaining your own boundaries. Healthy relationships are a balance of giving and receiving, and empathy plays a crucial role in achieving that balance. As you reflect on this, consider one simple question. How can I show up with more empathy and presence in my next conversation? It could be as simple as asking a thoughtful question, truly listening without interruption, or validating someone's emotions. These small actions can have a profound impact, transforming ordinary interactions into meaningful connections. Empathy and active listening aren't just skills, they're gifts. They allow you to see people for who they truly are and offer them the space to feel seen, heard, and valued. And in return, they'll often do the same for you. This mutual exchange creates the kind of deep, enduring connections that Stoicism encourages us to nurture, relationships rooted in respect, understanding, and authenticity. Now that we've explored the power of empathy and active listening, let's move forward. In the next section, we'll dive into how adding value to others' lives can further elevate the quality of your connections. Stay with me, this is where relationships go from meaningful to transformative. 4. Add value to others' lives. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you made someone's day better? Not because you had to, but because you wanted to. When you add value to others' lives, you're not just helping them, you're planting the seeds for deeper, more meaningful connections. Think about it. People naturally gravitate toward those who make them feel supported, appreciated, and empowered. But what does it mean to add value? And how can you do it in a way that feels genuine rather than transactional? Adding value is about contributing something meaningful to someone else's life, whether it's through your time, knowledge, encouragement, or simple acts of kindness. It's not about expecting something in return, it's about creating a positive impact. Here's the beauty of this approach. When you focus on adding value, you shift the dynamic of your relationships. Instead of asking, "What can I get?" you start asking, "What can I give?" This mindset is a cornerstone of Stoicism and Stoic relationships. Stoicism teaches us to act with purpose and integrity, and one of the most profound ways to do this is by serving others. So how can you start adding value to the people around you? Let's break it down. First, take a moment to observe. What does the person in front of you truly need? Maybe they're seeking guidance, a listening ear, or encouragement during a tough time. By being present and paying attention, you can identify ways to support them in a way that feels meaningful and personalized. For example, imagine a colleague is overwhelmed with a project. Instead of simply saying, "Let me know if you need help," try offering something specific. "I noticed you're swamped. Can I take care of that report for you so you can focus on the deadline?" This kind of intentional help goes beyond surface-level gestures and shows that you're genuinely invested in their success. Another way to add value is by sharing your knowledge or resources. We often underestimate how much our unique experiences and skills can benefit others. Whether it's offering advice, connecting someone with a helpful resource, or mentoring someone who's navigating a path you've already walked, your insights can be a game changer for someone else. But adding value isn't always about grand gestures. Sometimes it's the small, consistent actions that make the biggest impact. A kind word, a heartfelt compliment, or a simple thank you can go a long way in making someone feel appreciated. Remember, it's not about what you do, it's about the intention behind it. Now you might be wondering, doesn't this mean I'm always giving without receiving? Not at all. When you add value from a place of authenticity, it creates a natural flow of reciprocity. People are more likely to support, uplift, and invest in you when they see that you genuinely care about their well-being. Over time, these small acts of kindness build trust and strengthen your relationships. Let's talk about another powerful way to add value, being a source of positivity and encouragement. Think about the people you enjoy being around. Chances are they're the ones who lift you up, cheer you on, and inspire you to be your best self. You can be that person for others by focusing on what's good and helping them see their potential. For instance, if a friend is doubting their abilities, remind them of their strengths and past successes. A simple, "You've got this. I've seen what you're capable of," can make a world of difference. Positivity doesn't just boost others, it also strengthens your bond with them. But let's not forget the importance of boundaries. Adding value doesn't mean saying yes to everything or overextending yourself. True value comes from a place of balance where you're able to give without sacrificing your own well-being. As Stoicism teaches us, acting with intention means knowing when to give and when to step back, ensuring that your actions are sustainable and aligned with your values. So as you think about how to add value to the people in your life, remember this. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. Even one meaningful act can create a ripple effect, deepening your connections and fostering a sense of trust and mutual respect. Now, before we move on, I want to take a moment to connect with you. If you found this video insightful so far, let me know by liking this video and commenting number 1 below. It's always inspiring to see your feedback and hear your thoughts on these ideas. And if you're enjoying this journey into building meaningful Stoic relationships, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on future insights that can transform your relationships and your life. When you prioritize adding value to others, you're not just building stronger connections, you're also cultivating a life of purpose, integrity, and impact. This is the essence of Stoicism, acting with intention and aligning your actions with your values. As we continue, we'll explore how fostering a positive and growth-oriented mindset can further enhance your ability to attract quality connections. Let's keep going. 5. Build a positive and growth-oriented mindset. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. What kind of energy are you bringing into your relationships? Are you someone who inspires hope, curiosity, and growth, or do you find yourself often weighed down by negativity or self-doubt? The mindset you carry doesn't just affect you, it shapes the connections you attract and nurture. A positive and growth-oriented mindset is like a magnet. People are naturally drawn to those who exude optimism and a forward-thinking attitude. But positivity doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. Instead, it's about cultivating resilience, gratitude, and a focus on what's possible, even in the face of adversity. Stoicism as a philosophy is rooted in this principle. It encourages us to embrace what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions, while letting go of what lies outside our influence. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This wisdom applies directly to how we approach relationships. By fostering a mindset that prioritizes growth and gratitude, you create an environment where meaningful connections can thrive. So how can you build this kind of mindset? Let's explore a few practical strategies. First, start with gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what you already have. It's a reminder of the good in your life, including the relationships that support and uplift you. Consider making a daily practice of identifying 3 things you're grateful for, especially in your connections. Maybe it's a kind word from a friend, a moment of laughter with a loved one, or simply the presence of someone who understands you. This simple habit can transform your perspective and make you more attuned to the positives in your relationships. Next, embrace a learning mentality. In every interaction, there's an opportunity to grow. Even challenges or misunderstandings in relationships can teach you something valuable about yourself or others. Instead of viewing conflicts as roadblocks, approach them with curiosity. What can I learn from this? How can this experience help me grow? This mindset not only strengthens your resilience, but also demonstrates a level of emotional intelligence that others deeply respect. Another key aspect of a growth-oriented mindset is surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals. Jim Rohn's famous quote, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with," underscores the importance of your inner circle. When you're surrounded by people who are driven, positive, and committed to growth, their energy and attitudes naturally influence you. Likewise, your positivity and determination will inspire them in return. But what if your current environment feels draining or unsupportive? This is where Stoicism's principle of focusing on what you can control becomes invaluable. While you can't always change the people around you, you can choose how you respond to them. You can also seek out new communities, whether through shared interests, professional networks, or volunteer work that align with your values and aspirations. Now, let's address an important point. Positivity doesn't mean suppressing negative emotions. Life will inevitably bring challenges, and ignoring those feelings doesn't lead to growth, it leads to disconnection. Instead, use Stoicism's approach to process and navigate those emotions with clarity. Ask yourself, what is within my control right now? How can I use this situation to strengthen my character? When you face difficulties with courage and perspective, you become a source of strength and inspiration for others. Another way to cultivate a positive mindset is by celebrating the successes and progress of those around you. How often do we fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others, seeing their achievements as threats to our own worth? Instead of competing, choose to uplift. A simple, heartfelt acknowledgement of someone else's growth or accomplishment not only strengthens your bond but also reinforces your own growth-oriented mindset. Finally, let's talk about self-compassion. A positive mindset begins within. If you're constantly criticizing yourself or dwelling on your perceived shortcomings, it's hard to bring positivity into your relationships. Stoicism teaches us to accept ourselves as we are while striving for improvement. This balance of acceptance and effort creates a foundation of self-worth that radiates outward. When you prioritize growth, you naturally inspire others to do the same. Your mindset becomes a source of encouragement, reminding those around you that challenges are opportunities and that progress is always possible. Over time, this creates a cycle of mutual empowerment where everyone involved becomes stronger, more resilient, and more connected. Take a moment now to reflect. What kind of energy do I want to bring into my relationships? By focusing on gratitude, growth, and resilience, you're not just improving your own life, you're setting the tone for the kind of connections you want to attract and nurture. As we continue, we'll dive into the importance of prioritizing depth over breadth in relationships and how focusing on quality can transform the way you connect with others. Let's keep going. You're building something extraordinary here. 6. Invest in quality over quantity. Let's start with a question. Would you rather have 100 acquaintances or a handful of deep, meaningful relationships? If you're seeking real connection, the answer is obvious. But in today's world, where we're bombarded with friend requests, followers, and likes, it's easy to confuse quantity with quality. True relationships, the ones that nourish, uplift, and inspire, aren't built on numbers. They're built on depth, trust, and intention. Let's think about it. How much energy do you spend maintaining surface-level connections? How often do you find yourself stretched thin, trying to keep up with people who don't truly know or understand you? This isn't just exhausting, it's unfulfilling. But when you shift your focus to quality over quantity, everything changes. You build relationships that feel lighter, richer, and more aligned with who you are. This principle is deeply rooted in Stoicism. The Stoics valued meaningful bonds and saw shallow relationships as distractions from living a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." The same applies to our connections. If a relationship doesn't feel genuine or aligned with your values, it's worth reconsidering how much energy you invest in it. So how do you prioritize quality relationships? First, recognize the difference between a connection and a commitment. A connection might be a casual acquaintance, someone you chat with occasionally. A commitment, on the other hand, is a relationship you nurture intentionally with time, effort, and care. The people you commit to should be those who reciprocate your energy and bring out the best in you. One practical way to identify these relationships is to ask yourself, do I feel energized or drained after spending time with this person? Quality relationships leave you feeling supported, understood, and inspired. If someone consistently drains your energy, it may be time to reevaluate their role in your life. This doesn't mean cutting people off abruptly, but it does mean setting boundaries to protect your time and emotional well-being. Once you've identified the relationships that matter most, it's time to invest in them. Quality relationships thrive on consistent effort. This doesn't mean grand gestures. Often it's the small, thoughtful actions that make the biggest impact. A simple text to check in, a genuine compliment, or setting aside time for a meaningful conversation can strengthen your bond over time. Another way to deepen your relationships is by being fully present. In a world full of distractions, undivided attention has become a rare and valuable gift. When you're with someone, put your phone away, make eye contact, and listen with intent. These small acts show that you value their presence and are committed to the relationship. Now, let's address a common misconception. Does focusing on a few quality relationships mean closing yourself off to new connections? Not at all. It's about balance. While you should nurture the relationships that matter most, staying open to new connections allows you to grow and learn. The key is discernment, being intentional about who you let into your inner circle and why. Imagine your relationships as a garden. If you spread your resources too thin, none of your plants will thrive. But when you focus your energy on a few, nurturing them consistently, they grow stronger, healthier, and more resilient. This principle applies to relationships as well. By prioritizing depth over breadth, you create a foundation of trust and understanding that can weather life's challenges. Let's also talk about vulnerability. Deep relationships require it. When you share your thoughts, fears, and dreams with someone, you're giving them a glimpse of your true self. This kind of openness fosters trust and invites others to do the same. But vulnerability doesn't mean oversharing or exposing yourself to everyone. It's about being selective and intentional with the people who've earned your trust. Now, let me ask you, who are the people in your life that truly matter to you? Take a moment to think about them. What small act can you do today to show them how much you value their presence? Maybe it's a phone call, a heartfelt message, or making plans to spend quality time together. These actions might seem simple, but over time they build the foundation for meaningful and lasting connections. As you reflect on this idea of investing in quality over quantity, I want to remind you that it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Every step you take toward prioritizing depth in your relationships brings you closer to a life filled with authentic Stoic relationships. These are the connections that don't just add to your life but transform it. Before we move forward, I'd love to hear from you. If you found this perspective valuable, let me know by liking this video and commenting number 1 below. It's always inspiring to see how these ideas resonate with you. And if you're looking to deepen your understanding of Stoicism and relationships, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss future insights that can empower and inspire you. Investing in quality over quantity isn't just a strategy for relationships, it's a philosophy for life. And when you live this way, you don't just attract better connections, you become a better version of yourself. Let's keep going and explore how shared interests and environments can further enhance the way you connect with others. Stay with me, you're doing amazing. 7. Leverage shared interests and environments. Have you ever noticed how naturally conversations flow when you're talking to someone who shares your passions? It's like the connection just clicks, without effort or awkwardness. That's the power of shared interests and environments. They create an instant foundation for building relationships that feel natural and meaningful. Let's think about this for a moment. Shared interests act as a bridge, connecting people who might otherwise never cross paths. Whether it's a hobby, a cause, or a professional goal, these commonalities provide fertile ground for conversations and collaboration. But here's the secret. These connections aren't just about what you're doing, they're about who you're becoming in the process. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of aligning with communities and pursuits that reflect your values. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the interconnectedness of humanity, reminding us that we are social creatures by nature. He wrote, "That which is not good for the bee is not good for the hive." In relationships, this translates to surrounding yourself with people who share not only your interests, but also your purpose and character. So how can you leverage shared interests and environments to attract quality connections? It starts with putting yourself in the right places, both physically and mentally. Let's break it down. First, identify your passions and values. What excites you? What causes or goals resonate deeply with you? These are the starting points for finding communities that align with your authentic self. For example, if you're passionate about fitness, joining a local running group or gym class can introduce you to people who share that enthusiasm. If you care about environmental issues, volunteering for a sustainability project can connect you with like-minded individuals. But don't stop at just showing up. Engaging meaningfully within these environments is what transforms acquaintances into genuine connections. When you participate actively, whether by contributing ideas, offering support, or simply showing enthusiasm, you demonstrate that you're not just there for yourself, you're invested in the community as a whole. This idea of shared environments extends beyond physical spaces. Online communities, for instance, have become powerful platforms for connection. Whether it's a niche forum, a social media group, or a professional network like LinkedIn, these spaces allow you to connect with people who share your interests, no matter where they are in the world. The key, however, is to approach these interactions with the same authenticity and intention as you would in person. Now, let's talk about conversation. When you're in a shared environment, starting and sustaining meaningful dialogue becomes much easier because you already have a common thread to build on. Instead of generic small talk, you can dive into topics that genuinely interest both of you. For example, if you're at a book club, asking what drew you to this book can spark a conversation that reveals shared values and perspectives. But here's an important point. Shared interests aren't just about comfort, they're about growth. When you connect with people who are passionate about the same things, you challenge and inspire each other to learn and improve. These connections often evolve into what I like to call growth partnerships, where both parties encourage each other to reach their potential. This is especially powerful in Stoic relationships, which thrive on mutual respect and a shared commitment to personal development. Let's also address the role of vulnerability in these environments. Being willing to share your own journey, your challenges, your progress, and even your uncertainties invites others to do the same. Vulnerability creates depth in relationships, turning shared interests into meaningful bonds. For instance, if you're part of a hiking group, sharing why you started hiking, perhaps to clear your mind or overcome a personal obstacle, can open the door to deeper conversations and connections. One potential obstacle to leveraging shared interests is fear of rejection or judgment. Maybe you hesitate to join a new group or initiate a conversation because you're worried about not fitting in. Here's where Stoicism offers wisdom. Focus on what you can control, your willingness to show up and engage authentically, and let go of what you can't, like others' opinions. As Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things beyond our control. In relationships, this freedom allows you to connect without fear, knowing that the right people will naturally resonate with you. Finally, remember that shared environments are dynamic, they evolve, and so do you. Over time, your interests and values may shift, and that's okay. What matters is staying true to yourself and seeking out spaces that reflect who you are in the present. This adaptability ensures that your connections remain authentic and aligned with your growth. As you reflect on this idea, ask yourself, what environments am I currently part of, and do they align with my interests and values? If the answer is yes, how can you engage more meaningfully? If not, where can you seek out spaces that better resonate with your authentic self? These questions aren't just about finding connections, they're about creating a life that feels rich with purpose and belonging. Shared interests and environments are powerful catalysts for connection, but they're just one piece of the puzzle. Next, we'll explore how consistency and patience play a critical role in building trust and ensuring that your relationships stand the test of time. Stay with me, you're uncovering the full spectrum of what it means to cultivate meaningful Stoic relationships. 8. Consistency and patience in building trust. Let's be honest. In today's fast-paced world, we often expect instant results. But when it comes to meaningful relationships, trust isn't built overnight. It's earned over time through consistency, patience, and intentional effort. If you want to attract and maintain quality connections, you have to be willing to play the long game. Think about the people you trust most in your life. What makes those relationships strong? Chances are, it's not a single grand gesture but a series of small, consistent actions that show reliability, respect, and care. Trust, at its core, is a byproduct of consistency. It's about showing up, keeping your word, and proving through your actions that you're dependable. Stoicism offers profound insight into this process. The philosophy teaches us that patience and persistence are virtues essential for success in any area of life, including relationships. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, no great thing is created suddenly. This wisdom applies directly to building trust. It takes time, effort, and a commitment to doing what's right, even when it's not easy or convenient. So how do you practice consistency in your relationships? First and foremost, be reliable. Follow through on your promises, no matter how small. If you say you'll call. If you agree to meet at a specific time, be there. These actions may seem minor, but over time, they build a reputation of trustworthiness that people come to value deeply. Another key aspect of consistency is showing up emotionally. This means being present, listening actively, and offering support when it's needed. Trust isn't just about being physically available, it's about being emotionally invested in the well-being of the people you care about. For example, if a friend is going through a tough time, checking in regularly, even with a simple message like, "Just thinking of you, how are you holding up?" can make a significant difference. But let's address the elephant in the room: patience. Building trust can sometimes feel slow or even frustrating, especially when you're investing effort and not seeing immediate results. This is where Stoicism's teachings are invaluable. Instead of focusing on outcomes, shift your attention to the process. Ask yourself, am I acting with integrity and intention? Am I staying true to my values and how I engage with others? When you align your actions with your principles, the results will come in time. Patience is particularly important when trust has been broken. Whether by misunderstanding or mistake, rebuilding trust requires even more consistency and effort than establishing it in the first place. In these moments, it's essential to take accountability for your actions and demonstrate through consistent behavior that you're committed to repairing the relationship. Remember, words are important, but actions carry far more weight. Consistency also means understanding that relationships have rhythms. Sometimes they're full of energy and excitement. Other times they may feel quieter or even distant. It's during these quieter times that consistency matters most. A simple gesture, a kind word, a thoughtful check-in, or a reminder of shared memories can keep the connection alive, even when life pulls people in different directions. Now, let's talk about boundaries, an often overlooked aspect of consistency. Being consistent doesn't mean overextending yourself or saying yes to everything. In fact, respecting your own boundaries is essential for maintaining trust. When you're clear about your limits and communicate them with kindness, you show others that you value both your well-being and theirs. This balance fosters mutual respect and strengthens the foundation of your relationship. Another powerful way to practice consistency is by celebrating milestones and achievements in the lives of the people you care about. Whether it's a birthday, a promotion, or a personal accomplishment, acknowledging these moments shows that you're paying attention and that you genuinely care. These acts of recognition, though seemingly small, reinforce the bond you share and deepen the trust between you. Finally, let's not forget the role of forgiveness in building and maintaining trust. People are human and mistakes are inevitable. When someone you care about stumbles, how you respond can either strengthen or weaken your connection. Stoicism teaches us to approach such situations with understanding and compassion. Epictetus wrote, "What upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about these things." By choosing to forgive and focus on the larger picture, you create space for growth and healing. As you reflect on the importance of consistency and patience in building trust, ask yourself, am I showing up for the people who matter most? Are my actions aligned with the kind of relationships I want to cultivate? Trust is a long-term investment, and every step you take today brings you closer to the meaningful connections you desire. Before we wrap up this section, let me check in with you. If you're finding this video insightful and want to deepen your understanding of Stoic relationships, let me know by liking this video and commenting number 1 below. Your feedback means a lot and helps shape the content we bring to this community. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss future content that empowers you to live with intention and build connections that truly matter. Trust isn't built in a day, but with consistency and patience, it becomes the bedrock of relationships that stand the test of time. Let's keep moving forward as we tie everything together and explore how these principles can create transformative connections in your life. Stay with me, you're building something truly special. As we come to the end of this journey, let me leave you with one powerful thought. Quality connections aren't stumbled upon, they're cultivated. They're built through intentional effort, self-awareness, authenticity, empathy, and a commitment to growth and consistency. When you align your actions with these principles, you're not just creating relationships, you're creating a life rich with meaning and fulfillment. Think about the ideas we've explored together. The importance of knowing yourself, showing up authentically, listening with empathy, adding value to others' lives, fostering a growth-oriented mindset, prioritizing quality over quantity, leveraging shared interests, and committing to consistency and patience. Each of these steps is a building block, and together, they form a blueprint for meaningful, transformative connections. Stoicism teaches us that we are the architects of our relationships. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Look within, within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig." The secret to attracting quality connections begins within you, your values, your character, and your willingness to invest in the right people and environments. Now, take a moment to reflect. What's one action you can take today to strengthen a relationship that matters to you? It could be as simple as reaching out to someone you've lost touch with, expressing gratitude to a loved one, or showing up authentically in a conversation. Small, intentional steps lead to profound changes over time. If this journey has resonated with you, let's continue building this community together. Like this video, comment number 1 below, and share your thoughts about which idea you're most excited to apply. Your perspective is invaluable, and I'd love to hear how these principles are transforming the way you connect with others. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you can keep growing with us and exploring topics that empower your relationships in your life. Thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself and your connections. Remember, the relationships you build aren't just a reflection of who you are, they shape who you become. Here's to living with intention, cultivating Stoic relationships, and creating a life filled with purpose and authenticity. Until next time, take care, keep growing, and stay true to yourself. Wishing you all the best on your journey to meaningful connections. See you soon.